Holy shit, did you guys see that? That was Uncle Sam flying by on a rocket. It was beautiful, actually. And you know what? Bald eagle right behind it. Off topic, head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and get your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. They've got all the books. They've got all of them. They've got many different things. Pride and Prejudice. They've got that one about the meat packing place. It was really dirty, and it made a lot of regulations go into effect here in the States. I don't remember what that one's called. They've got that the syphilis handbook by Ben Franklin. That's a thing. And yeah, so go find something. They've got everything there. You can find it. I promise. It's really super easy to find something. Have a super happy and healthy 4th of July from all of us at Jumbled, including Johnny. He wanted me to tell you specifically, don't blow your hand off. Now send the kids out of the room. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Jumbled, your favorite podcast about nothing. I'm Zach, and hey, it is the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everybody, all of the American listeners. Happy 4th of July. I hope you are celebrating our independence in a responsible manner. Don't, Jason Pierre-Paul, your own fingers off your hand. You should definitely just light the fireworks and then walk away. Don't try to launch anything off your head. Don't try to attach any fireworks to your body, and just be safe, because I know you guys are going to be drinking, because that's the plan for me as well. With that being said, we are taking the week to just sort of relax and enjoy some time off, but we want to give you guys a Jumbled Rewind episode. We're going to do the first episode that Jonny was on, which happened to be episode 37. Episode 37, hashtag Jonny Challenge. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, happy Independence Day to all you American listeners, to all you other listeners. Happy 4th of July, whatever that means to you. Hope you're having a good day, and hope you've had a good week, and we will see you guys next week with a brand new episode of Jumbled. But for now, enjoy episode 37, Jumbled Rewind, hashtag Jonny Challenge. See you guys. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Jumbled, your favorite podcast about nothing. My name is Zach.
And I'm Johnny.
Hey, Johnny, what's going on, man?
Oh, you know, just hanging out, staring at you, making funny faces while you do the intro, trying to make you laugh. Almost got you.
You almost did. You almost did. It brought me back to the good old college days where you would just sort of just be standing outside of my room sometimes. You just like knock on the door and just be there. Just
relentlessly trying your door combo.
Dude, you knew the combo. Don't act like you didn't.
I figured it out. I was thinking about that the other day, about door combos, and I was like, how did I have so many numbers memorized, but now like I can't even remember my fiance's phone number?
That's 100% true.
Like, probably because we used them all the time, but you know, without speed dial, I would be so hosed.
Yeah, I don't remember any numbers besides for. It's really weird. I remembered my bank account number the other day, which is like the weirdest number that you could ever memorize, because you never ever need to know it unless you're like entering bills online, unless you're like just paying bills online. But it's like,
I feel like I was doing that the other day and was like, I feel like I'm starting to memorize this number, but I don't. That's a weird one.
Yeah, it's strange. But anyway, we're back, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. Johnny, how does it feel to be in the intro, to be a co-host of this podcast?
I mean, I'm a little nervous. Seeing the social media breaking about Joe, and people obviously rightfully so upset that he's gone, and big shoes to fill. But yeah. I think we'll be okay. We'll get through. We'll do some things, and I know you kind of mentioned that Joe might be making some guest appearances here and there, which could be cool. So we'll see.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where he sort of falls on that. If he wants to do something like that in the future, I left it open to him. So, he's always welcome on the podcast. Obviously, he's the co-creator of the thing. So he's always welcome. But I was saying earlier to you, it's weird. Like it feels like we're almost starting over with the podcast, but just like with an already set listenership. It's just like it's like if we had just like around 45 or 50 dedicated friends who we knew were always just going to be listening, and we just started a podcast. That's pretty much what it's like right now.
I mean, I feel like that's not that far off than when you guys first started Jumbled, because I mean, everyone who likes you is pretty much listening to it now anyways, right? And I hope so. Maybe 30% of those people also like me, so that's not bad.
It's, the percentages are okay. They're not bad, Johnny.
Do we, what I like about the format of Jumbled, and now that there's not an official fact checker, because I don't plan on fact checking myself, is that I feel like I can say anything now, and there's no repercussions. Like, I am going to be the smartest man in the world for this hour, as long as no one uses Google.
I said Joe was out of the podcast, but he's actually our new fact checker.
Are you serious?
No, I'm not serious at all. I'm not serious. I am eating cereal, though, so if there's some weird, awkward pauses...
Oh, it's all good. Speaking of awkward pauses, I wish you could see your video froze on my screens, and you just have the goofiest looking face right now. I'm actually kind of tempted to take a picture and
please do.
And send it to you.
I'll probably unfreeze the moment you go to snap the picture, but hey, it's all good.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You've been holding that freeze for quite some time.
Oh, all right.
Like, basically when we started recording.
As long as the audio is still coming through and you can hear me, it's all good. So yeah, I'm excited that you're on board here, Johnny. Thank you for stepping in. I know you said it was big shoes for you to fill, but I feel like we know each other well enough where it's a good mix here.
I mean, I used to sing you lullabies every night before bed, so like.
That's true. Me and Johnny roomed. Let's see, that would have been
like 2009.
Yeah,
29.
it was. Yeah, yep. Because I first year roomed with Joe, and then I had to room with another friend, JC. And and then I don't even know if we got official like word that we could move. I just straight up moved out.
Yeah, that was second semester of my first year.
It was strange because we started or he had his girlfriend over at the time, and JC played basketball. And so it was like the room smelled like just funk, just socks, and I think that was sort of like the tipping
like
point.
College boys in general.
Yeah, it was the tipping point, and I was like, Johnny's always buying those Glade plugins. I think I'm good. Let's make the swap.
that was that was the moment there.
It was all the Glade plugins and the fact that I think you just bought like an Xbox or something like that, and I didn't have one yet, or something like. There was some reason. Not just because of your money.
Wow.
Not just because of your money, but, it was a determining factor.
Nah, it's all good. It works out in the end.
It did. Hey, by the way, sorry I haven't got my passport yet. I know that's a thing you're gonna hearken on frequently in this podcast.
And now I have like an hour-long soapbox to stand on.
Dude,
just to slowly I do want to bring in this, like, what would Zach do for $50? Yeah. So if there's any like sponsors or listeners that want to support this game, that we can get Zach to do something questionable every week for $50, and he can put it towards his passport. Message us on social media, and we can see what we can get Zach doing.
Yeah, I'm like I've said before, my shame knows no ends. I do not care. And by the way, the thing that I said I would stop doing is using Google, but that was before I thought about it more.
Man, you could not. You guys are crazy. Like to not use Google.
We said some strange things in our first 35 episodes. I'll say that for sure.
Have you looked at Bing? Like, have you tried to use Bing?
For a minute there was like some sort of like if you used Bing, Microsoft would pay you a certain amount of money for every, I don't even remember what it was, but like I tried, like there was an incentive to use Bing at one point, and
it was not enough incentive.
It was a monetary incentive, and it still did not bring me into the Bing universe. So I don't think there's anything that could bring me over. But to answer your question, recently, no, I have not Binged anything.
So I work for, I guess, essentially the provincial government here. Okay. So our IT is very strict. So my first computer when I got this job was still rocking Windows XP. I'm pretty sure my cell phone had more computing power than my actual desktop.
Wow.
And it was defaulted to Internet Explorer, which is like a whole nother pain.
Dude, awful.
And could only use Bing for some reason.
Oh no.
So I literally had to use Bing for the first like 4 weeks until I got my computer upgraded. And I mean, I'm not like a huge like Google Chrome guy. No. Like I'm kind of more of an Apple user, so I like Safari.
Sure.
But I never thought I'd be so excited as I was to be able to get Google Chrome and have like a decent browser and use Google instead of Bing.
Dude, yeah, because Internet Explorer is like super deprecated. Like they stopped even updating it on Windows 7. So it's like, and I know you said you guys just rolled out Windows 7 or something at your job.
Yeah,
but we just finished a Windows 10 rollout at mine. But yeah, no, I feel your pain. Every time I go up to somebody's their computer or whatever, and they're using Internet Explorer, I sort of judge them a little bit. Like, I don't say anything, but it's just like, obviously use something else because this is awful.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big PC fan in general, so it was a whole flurry of punches to my technology ego. And I survived. I dealt.
Yeah,
but...
hey, it is what it is. Well, good on you for sticking it out there with Bing for a while. Yeah.
Though if I knew you could get paid, like I'm intrigued at what the the monetary incentive would be, because like it would have to be not a lot for it to be worthwhile to them.
Let me see if I can find it. You to use Bing. Oh, that's something that popped up in Google search. So Microsoft will pay you to use Bing is what I searched, and that was
half a cent a search or something.
So Fortune.com actually says use Bing search instead, and Microsoft will pay you. That's as of June 3rd of this year. So it's pretty recent. Yeah, pretty recent still. And I think I tried to give it a shot like last year. So it was even like something they were doing like a year ago. And I just couldn't do it. Like, I don't even know how much it is. Like, it's probably like portions of a cent for every search item or something like that. But it's just like, I don't know.
You think there's someone like just instead of like farming for cryptocurrency, they're just set up random Bing searches just running on their computer 24/7, just racking up those slivers of pennies every day?
Dude, that's the new thing. What
farming?
Yeah,
Bing.
That's the new thing, man. That's, you know what? I'm now a full-time podcaster, and I'm just gonna set up a bot to auto search Bing.
Just I don't even know. I just don't. That's some desperation. Like, that's how you know you cannot beat a company when you can't even pay people to use your product that is not that much different, but just enough different.
Yeah. Joe talked about, and I hate to bring Joe back up. I mean, I don't, but he is pretty recent news. So anyway, he talked about Lycos a couple episodes ago. And Lycos is actually still a thing that you can use. I didn't know if you knew this, Johnny.
No.
You could still go online and use Lycos. So I went on Lycos.com and I searched Google, and it brought up no results.
No way. That's got to be intentional.
It had to be. But the thing was, you could search Yahoo, it didn't bring up results. You could search I forget what else, but then if you search Bing, it brought up Bing.
Really?
So they're so unconcerned with the amount of traffic that Bing is pulling through that they're willing to advertise Bing. You know?
That's all. Bing is probably paying them to let that happen.
Oh, 100%. For the remaining dozen people that still use Lycos. You know, there's one dude out there that's like, I really like Lycos, you know?
Yeah,
it
works for him. He only likes seeing 20% of the information that he's looking for.
Hey,
and I feel like that's probably being generous.
You know who uses it? Donald Trump. That's how he gets all of his international news. Since he's only getting 30% of the news, he uses Lycos.
Do you think he gets like his very own printed copy of The Onion every morning, and that's what he goes off of?
God, he probably does. He's the worst. Okay, so I just tweeted from the Jumbled account like right before I got on the Skype call with you. And Donald Trump, apparently, this is like a day ago. So you might have seen this, Johnny. But like a day ago, he was like, I'm going to read it when my phone loads Twitter. But, you know, he's always looking for ways to make a splash. And to have his name and face out in the middle of everywhere. Okay, so he said, why would Kim Jong-un insult me by calling me quote-unquote old when I would never, in all caps, call him quote-unquote short and fat? Oh well, I try so hard to be his friend, and maybe someday that will happen. That was a tweet that the President of the United States just sent a day ago.
I think I saw that like very briefly skimming, and I thought it was a joke, but apparently it's real. And
it's real.
Yeah, I know. I think I've said it before, at least to you guys, and maybe during a fact-checking episode. But Donald Trump is literally the personification of all the American stereotypes. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty. I can't. I'm speechless, honestly. I think a lot of the world is.
Most of America is as well, Johnny. I mean, I don't know if you followed the election closely.
Oh, I did quite closely.
But you know, Hillary Clinton did win the popular vote for, you know, the mass majority of Americans voted for Hillary Clinton. But, you know, all that other shit, the Electoral College and whatnot. You know,
how do you feel about the Electoral College?
I'm not a fan. Well, I mean, I understand the need for the Electoral College to give smaller states equal power.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think... I think the main thing that we should be concerned with as Americans is gerrymandering. So, you know, just dividing, you know, voting lines up into weird, you know, amoeba-looking structures just based on voters. So you can win, you know, certain districts and they count those districts towards, you know, the overall win or whatever. So it's just like... You know, just divide my state, or, you know, put a grid. You know, if you want to set 14 districts or whatever, divide my state up into 14 as equal as possible parts, and then use that. Go with that. But
that happens everywhere, though. Like that same strategy happens even like in Canada in politics, and it's constantly a big thing that comes up. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think. And again, not to like train wreck this podcast onto Donald Trump talk. But I think, you know, the general message was that a lot of people in the U.S. wanted someone different than a career politician. I just think it was really unfortunate that Donald Trump was the one that stood up and said, hey, I'll be that person, you know?
Yeah.
Have you heard the stuff about like Dwayne Johnson looking at running and stuff?
I've heard, and I don't know how in favor I am of that anymore. I mean, people have said for a long time, it's like, Washington needs something new, and while I'll agree with that, I don't think it's going to come in the form of a celebrity or a person or a billionaire, who's run companies. I don't see that happening, especially if they don't have any like a career in politics otherwise. It just doesn't make much sense to me anymore. Like, I understood the draw for Donald Trump, but I would never have voted for him in a million years just based on the person he is,
Yeah, absolutely.
No. That's where I am with it. I don't know.
It could make for some really good video of, like, the rock people's elbowing people.
Yeah.
Like, do you smell what the president is cooking? Come on, like the taglines would be endless.
Dude, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's sort of like, Harry Truman's, line was, "The buck stops here,"
Yeah.
But there's got to be so many. It doesn't matter what your vote is, or whatever, like there's got to be something.
Oh, I'd be so into it. I hope it happens. Just because I just want to keep watching the shit show,
Yeah. Vice president, got a vice president for The Rock. You ready for this? Kevin Hart. So you got a little bitty Kevin Hart and The Rock. All right. And they are in the news for all the right reasons.
Are you sure about that?
No, I mean, not right now. Kevin Hart's not, for sure. Well, that's been a little removed. It's been, what, a month since his whole scandal or something like that?
Yeah. I think we're quickly learning that everyone in Hollywood they're all mostly assholes. Like 99%.
Yeah, there's definitely, everybody's got their facade up, they're all self-serving to a certain level, and even if they say they aren't, or if they're saying they're trying to do the right stuff, they're all trying to make money.
That's what it comes down to.
Everybody's trying to make money. I mean, it's not just they're people after all. They're the same. There's people who are in completely different scenarios who aren't making the money that they're making, who are just doing the same shit because they're humans. It's just human nature.
Speaking of making money, for $50, would you?
Here we go. First installment.
Shave the bowl haircut that you did when we were in New Orleans and rock that for a full week.
Ooh, a week? Oh my God. Do I get to take, like, if I took, like, PTO from work and just sat around the house, would that? No, like, if I just, like, did it and then just sat around my house, does that count as well? Or do I have to actually go out in public?
I mean, I like the idea of you having to go out in public. I don't know if that means you have to go to work with it.
I'd get fired so quick if they were like,
"All right, fired over that."
Male pattern baldness out of nowhere. Like, I didn't lose my hair overnight. Like, that's not something.
What if there was some crazy accident? You could say you were lighting a candle and something happened and just poof.
Yeah, I was using my wife's shower for, I'd rarely ever use that shower, and I squeezed out the stuff in my hand. I thought it was shampoo, but it was Nair.
So I actually have done that.
Have you?
Yeah, I was a little kid. My mom tells this story all the time that, so when I was younger, I really did not like showering. And though I still do it at least once a day now, mostly, sometimes twice, depending on what I'm doing, I still really do hate showering. Like, I don't know why. It just feels like it's such an effort to get done. But yeah, I was a little kid. I was probably like, she said I was like 5 or 6. And I took a shower and I didn't wash my hair. Like, I didn't want to get my hair wet. So I came out of the shower and my mom was mad at me because I didn't, clean myself.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Fine, just go to bed. You can go to school with messy hair or whatever." So then I felt bad and snuck back into the bathroom and tried to wash my hair. But at this time, my mom had just used the shower, because I was like faking going to sleep.
Sure.
And she nared her legs or whatever, and I didn't know, and she left it out. So little John walks into the shower trying to be like, I'll show you. And I start, showering and go to wash my hair. And, I'm losing chunks of my hair. So I'm crying.
Oh, Jesus.
And my mom comes in, is like, what is happening? And starts like rinsing my hair out, trying to protect my eyes, obviously. And is just pulling out chunks and chunks and chunks of hair.
Oh, no.
And she was just laughing. She couldn't keep a straight face on that. And I had to go to school with like golf ball sized patches of hair missing.
Dude, if that's me, I'm completely shaving my head. Like, I've said for a long time, it's never going to happen because, baldness does not run on my, what is it, your mom's dad?
Yeah, I have no idea.
It comes from. I think
is that stuff even true? Is that like a real thing?
I think it is. It might not be. Maybe we'll ask our fact checker for next week. But
do you have someone in mind? Someone going to step up?
What if Joe actually did step up?
Oh no, I hope he does. That'd be amazing.
That'd be funny.
But I'm sure there's a loyal listener out there that is like me and is just trying to find a way to weasel onto the podcast permanently. Great success.
Yeah. If you want to be our new fact checker, we are looking. I will say, Johnny can attest, we do pay handsomely.
It's lovely.
It's a sweet gig. But it is vacant, so we do need that. Getting back to showers, I had something I was going to say. I love showering. I think it's great. I stay in the shower for too long a lot of the time. But I've always been the clumsy kid. So growing up, especially, when the story happened, I hadn't quite figured out how my body was working. Like I was like if you had to equate me to something, be like a baby horse or like a, like where my
like Bambi on ice or what?
Yeah, just trying to figure out how my legs work and all that stuff. So we're having a family night around the TV. And then, like, my mom starts smelling. She's like, what is that? Obviously, I'm like, I'm a teenage boy at this point. 13, maybe. And she's like, oh, Zach, you smell. Go take a shower. And I was like, okay. So I went in the shower, and it was probably like 5-10 minutes pass. And then I remember this myself. I would have loved to have like been a fly on the wall, like watching my own life when this happened. But I like fell in the shower. But like on the way down, I grabbed. It was like one of those showers where like the sliding glass door is on a rail, that.
Yeah.
But the rail was not secured really to the wall. It was like sitting on some. It was sitting in a little bit, but. But I went like on the way down, as any person does, you just try to grab something on the way down.
You just destroyed the shower, didn't you?
And I grabbed the shower and it just came apart in like 3 different pieces. Luckily, like none of the glass broke out of the doors, but it was loud as shit. And then like my mom came knocking on the door. She's like, you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like trying to piece the shower back together. So my shower ended up being probably 20 minutes or 25 minutes, when it should have been 10 to 15 because I didn't turn the water off for some stupid reason. Like I still had the water. Like most people would have just been like, oh, well, let's turn off the goddamn water. Let's turn off the goddamn water because that makes sense. No, but I didn't do that. So, hey, shower stories, right?
Yeah, man. It's all good.
You got any recent ones? Any recent shower stories?
I don't think I have any recent ones. I enjoy showers more now because I do like some stretches in the shower, which I think some people think is weird, but like the heat in the water.
Sure.
And it's also a time like every day where I remind myself I need to do these stretches. So the shower works.
Yeah.
But do you ever do like things in the shower that you think most people don't do in the shower? Like brush your teeth or drink a beer or like eat your breakfast?
I don't do much aside from just washing myself. But I'm trying to think if there's any time I did anything really sort of strange, like peculiar. Other than getting graphic, which I'm not going to do, there's not.
Okay, Zach.
I'm just not going to get into that. But No, I don't. I filed my taxes one time in the shower, but that was a one-time thing.
Oh, okay. Did you ever have one of those like radio showers? Remember when those were like really popular in like the 90s? You could like put a waterproof radio.
I've never had one of those, but they still make like the waterproof Bluetooth speaker things.
Yeah.
I'd really like to get one of those. So if any of our listeners have one or something, yeah, just because I like listening to music in the shower. But my fan, my exhaust fan in my bathroom doesn't really work.
Oh,
so I can't.
Tough.
Yeah, so I can't just like play music and and feel comfortable about my electronics not getting water damage.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's always a risk. Electricity and water, and you're clearly clumsy a little bit, so
a lot of it. I don't know if I've talked about it. I think I probably have. I think I have. I had a dog. This is probably 6 to 9 months ago, something like that. A year ago, who knows? I live in a time paradox. But this dog was like digging in our backyard, and so I ran out to tell the dog to stop. But like I missed the first step, and I went falling down my back stairs, and like twisted my ankle in the process. So like there's, I'm always looking to just completely wreck myself in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Always looking for it. Yeah, that's just sort of adds to the chronicling of clumsiness for my life.
We all have a thing, right? That's all good.
We do. I talked about last week a separate podcast that was named very, very similarly to ours.
I was going to look that up, but I totally forgot.
It's called Jumbled Cast. I think I called it Jumbled Jumble. It's called Jumble Cast without the D.
Yeah, Jumble. That's right.
Yeah, but but their Twitter handle is Jumble Podcast, but it's like one letter different than ours. So you could easily get turned around. So I hope I hope our listeners haven't been going to that guy's Twitter and like trying to figure out what the hell's going on, because nobody's posting anything.
Never post episodes.
But I talked about how he released he said, I'm doing a podcast on April 26th, and I said we released on the same day. That's not necessarily true. It's not true at all. We released on March 8th, but I always look at the data for the podcast, and we switched over to a different feed service on April 26th, so that's why I was confused. So I just wanted to put that out in the atmosphere in case we have people fact-checking independently. I do know now.
It's this guy in his basement building a case against you to take over all the listeners.
Yeah, he's putting in weird passwords that he doesn't think anybody will be able, or that nobody would ever use, in order to hack into our SoundCloud and take over the RSS feed, and that's it.
I don't know. I've seen some of the passwords for things that you use, and your password game is on point.
Dude, yeah, I'm not messing around.
Like it's not. I almost feel like it's not even functional to a point.
It is functional because I know my password to my Gmail, and it's also really strong. But I can remember that one, and then I've shared the document with my Gmail account, so I can always access the passwords.
That's true. It's probably really bad, and maybe I shouldn't be admitting this to the thousands of listeners that we have. But I have like 3 passwords that have a couple of variations, but like one, all of my email accounts have the same password. The other one, all my bank accounts have the same password.
Oh, dude!
And then at the other one, all of my work stuff has the same password.
All right, I don't know if we've said your last name before, but that might be something we want to go back through the podcast and scrub.
Whatever,
dude. That's some pretty low security you're rocking there. You just not care?
I mean, I have like memory issues, so do you know how many times I have to call my bank and being like, "Oh, I forgot my password again." And I just get really tired of having to do that. So
That's fair. That's
plus,
fair.
like at work, we have to update our password every 3 months, I think it is now. So I literally, it's like the same 8 digits, letters, numbers, signs, and then I just change a couple numbers at the very end.
You know, that's how most people do it. Like they have like their main part of their password, and then they just like have a number, and the number keeps getting bigger. You know, one number bigger every time they have to change their password.
So I used to do it like I'd be like blah 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 01 and then 02, 03.
Right.
But then I was starting to forget like where I was and which one I used. So now I just do it on the month. So whatever month it is, that's what I do. I think that's kind of crafty.
That's not bad,
it's not like it's like ABCD password. Like
sure,
there's some uppercase and lowercase.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not like you're using like password or, you know.
No, or my last name or anything.
I think there was a study that was done recently, and I forget exactly who did the study, but they determined that the most used password is actually just password.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, people are lazy, and I think you'll see security is already a big issue, but I don't think many more people are going to be just using password. As a matter of fact, they say like the most secure thing that you can use is like a passphrase. So it's just like you know, instead of just one word or numbers or uppercase or symbols or whatever, just like a sentence that you can remember that not many people would try to guess.
That's kind of smart. I don't think I would ever. Do people like hack into computers now with a password? Like I feel like that is like such an old idea that like keyloggers now, it doesn't matter what your password is, they're gonna get it.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna.
So you're basically trying to stop like your kids or like a coworker from logging into your computer. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean the longer you make the password, the harder it is to determine. You know, and while a keylogger might be able to eventually find out what that password is, a lot of times like hackers are going to. If they have to devote too much time to trying to crack a code, they're just going to move on to the next. They're not going to spend.
Yeah, I guess
they're not going to spend time trying to hack into somebody's account if they can't relatively quickly find out what the password is.
I have a $50 question for you.
Ooh, okay.
For $50, would you let me set all of your passwords? I don't need to know for which accounts. I'll just give you a list of passwords.
Oh man. Okay. Like how many passwords are we talking? Are we talking 3 passwords and I get to use them wherever?
Yeah.
Oh god.
I want one to be like your desktop computer at work, so you have to use it like multiple times a day. So like obviously not like your bank passwords or anything, but just those regular ones that you're going to use.
Yeah. For how long? How long do I have to use them?
I don't know. I feel like that one's like low impact socially, so it'd have to go for a while.
Okay, so I have to use like that password or a variation of that password for like a year or something like that?
Yeah, a year works. You agree to that? Because I was thinking like 3 months, but a year. I'm in for a year.
Oh gosh, I think I overshot. I think a year probably might be too much.
No, you're committed now.
Well then, I would probably bow out if it was a year.
Really?
I'd probably say nah. Well, just because, like I said, you know, people are always looking to hack into your shit. You know.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to be a simple password. It could be like 30 digits. I just want to make funny phrases that you have to type in all the time as well.
Oh God. Well. I'm trying to think of like what I would regularly use because I have a Surface Pro 4 for my work computer, and so it's got the IR camera, so it just signs me in with my face. Yeah. So I don't know where I would regularly even type in a password. Might be on my Gmail or something like that. But
how do you feel about that, like facial recognition technology on your phone?
I feel like it still needs to be proven effective. I feel like it's so new that it still has, like, people need to test it out more before I feel super comfortable with it. But I don't know. I feel like it's it's the future.
Have you seen have you held the new iPhone 10X whatever?
Yeah, I went to Best Buy the other day to buy this webcam that I'm talking to you on, and obviously they have their Apple set up and all that stuff. So they had the iPhone 10 there, and I got to hold it for a second, and it was pretty cool. It was weird handling a phone without a home button.
That's exactly how I felt. I went and tried it out a couple days ago because I'm going to get one in the new year, and I just like instinctively kept going to the home button, and I felt so lost because I've basically been using an iPhone since the first iPhone came out.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's something to be proud of or not. Like sometimes I think about going to another phone.
No,
I was like, no, can't do it. Even though these are like they're so overpriced. But
yeah. My iPhone's a beast. I don't know if you am I still frozen, by the way?
No, you've come out of the freezer a couple times and have gone back in, but you're live right now.
Oh,
so
okay,
this
cool.
is nice.
My phone is it's a 6 Plus.
Look at this bad boy.
Ooh, what is that? The 4S?
No, it's the SE.
Oh, it's a SE. I was like, holy shit, man! You've been rocking a fucking dinosaur for
this thing
5
is a
years.
Tank, though.
Yeah, is it as tanky as those Nokia phones?
What was the one that we had? Was it Joe's phone?
I think no, it was like Brent's. It was like Brent's phone or something like that, wasn't it?
Whipping it at the wall and that thing would still turn on.
Like as hard as we could, throwing it at the plaster walls, and the thing never broke.
They just don't make them like they used to, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, no joke. I baseball pitched that thing at a wall with permission.
Yeah, obviously.
And it held up just fine.
You know, I've only broken one iPhone in the like 10 years that I've had them.
Yeah.
And I've dropped them in the toilet. I've spilled beer on them. I mean, I've dropped them numerous times from heights that should have died. And I've just been getting like the best iPhones ever.
Stop. Let's talk for a second about our sponsor today, Audible. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and get a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. The book that I'm recommending for the month of November is We Are Legion, We Are Bob. It's book 1 in a series of 3 books known as the Bobiverse. It's written by Dennis Taylor, narrated by Ray Porter. It's got a running time of 9 hours and 30 minutes. Basically, the book is about a gentleman who sold his software company, and he crosses the street and ends up getting killed. Wakes up a century later, finds he has no rights. He's been turned into artificial intelligence. He's been put into a probe. And, it looks pretty interesting. Again, this is a series of 3 books, so we are going to cover November, December, and January for the Bobiverse. So if that sounds like something that you would like to listen to, a little bit of ear candy, head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled. Hey, get that free 30-day trial. You're welcome. I have this my 6 Plus is like, it's tanky, but it's like it's starting to die. Like it's in its last stages. I tried to take it apart a few months back. Well, I didn't try. I did successfully take it back. But, you know, with the 6 and the 6 Plus, they had that, what they called bend gate, whereas, like, the phone bent easily.
Yeah.
And it's bent around so much that when I took it apart, something must have jostled loose inside, and now my home button doesn't work. So I've been dealing with that home button, but I just have to use that, what is it called, assistive touch.
Yeah, I hated that thing.
Yeah, it's not fun, but I've been having to use that. And then the other day, my phone just shut off. It was like 32% battery, it said it still had, and then it just shut off. And then,
that's rough.
It is rough. And then one of the screws in the bottom of my iPhone, when I took it apart, I dropped it and it got lost. So
Gone forever.
There's only one screw in there now, and it's dying. The mute switch doesn't work half the time, so unless it's
that's
like
a rough phone.
Yeah, it is a rough phone. I can't really do much. But with assistive touch, at least I can, through the software, mute the phone and stuff like that. But
yeah. So that, like, you're now never allowed to get a new phone until you get a passport, right?
That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, of course. Well, I can't, like you said, I would never want to switch over to a new phone, or to a different kind of phone. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the kind of guy who would settle for the 8 plus, if I'm going to go for a phone, I want the newest thing, you know?
I will say, aside from the first iPhone, I've never had the fall release phone. I'm always a generation or a half generation behind because I'm frugal like that. Mm-hmm. So this one with the 10, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get the new one. And then I saw how much they were and I was like, maybe I'll wait. See if they go on sale.
Yeah. I mean, they make them, where you can do the payments and stuff like that now, but it's still it's just nuts.
Yeah, they're like $1,500 in Canada.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not messing around, man. They're $1,000.
Yeah,
it's in the States, so
it's pretty nuts. So
yeah. I definitely wasn't first in line, obviously, to buy the thing, but that will be the next phone. Either that, or if I can't get one this year, I'll nurse this 6 Plus along until whatever they call the next phone. You ever think about that? What are they going to call the next iPhone? Because they've
XI.
Well,
they're going to go to Roman numerals or something.
They've completely gotten rid of the naming structure, what are they? I mean, the next one, if they stick with the mid-year models were the S models, so is it the iPhone XS?
I mean, I think that makes sense. I imagine that's what they'll do. But I mean, I don't know. What do you think Microsoft did the same thing? Because they have Windows XP.
That's true. They skipped 9. Well, yeah. But I think the 7 was the version, right? So they were version 7 of Windows at that point.
Yeah.
So they called it Windows 7, and then there was Windows 8. And then I think they determined that 8.1 was different enough that it was pretty much version 9. And then they went 10.
Huh. There's so many versions that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
Because I never use a PC.
Hey, man, it's all good. It's all good.
I will say, I built Al a computer a couple weeks ago, PC, because she likes PC gaming.
Sure.
And she was actually rocking the iMac that I bought my second year of university in 2009 that I bought with Joe when Joe and I bought the same computers.
Yeah.
So she's still been using that thing, and it was slowly kind of just not functioning for her.
Yeah.
And I built her a PC and was like, this is kind of fun. I kind of like doing this. And then I, was using it and was like, but it's still a PC.
Yeah, I can't get over that. It's not Linux based. I can't jump on board.
Yeah. But it has some cool flashing lights in it that I'm staring at right now. Being like, are you overheating? How are you doing? Turn you on. What's going on? But yeah, so I was just thinking we set kind of a small plan for this podcast, and we definitely jumbled the shit out of it and are, now 40 minutes in and talking about the most random stuff ever.
Well, welcome to the podcast. I mean, this is this is Jumbled. Honestly, this is it. And that's the thing that I really enjoy still about doing the podcast is it's just it feels. It's just a conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's like a conversation. Mm-hmm. Half the time, unless I had Audacity minimized right now, I wouldn't know that I'm recording. That's how I want it to come across, where I'm just having a conversation.
Yeah, so. No, I agree. I like the format, and I think I mean, as a listener, I enjoyed it, and I imagine other listeners do too. So
yeah, we had that we have a listener that commented on our Instagram post that was pretty wrecked, all torn up about Joe leaving. But
yeah.
But I think Jonny is he's proving himself worthy.
Did you have some questions? We talked about doing like an intro to Jonny, which we kind of did. We met in university. I sung you lullabies. Used to kick you in your sleep.
Yeah, you talked about showering and washing your hair with Nair, and we've all learned a little bit about you. But I don't know. I think mostly what I was just sort of wanting to get at was just how you're feeling about being part of the podcast. I know you've been a part of the podcast for what time? Do you know what episode it was that we started? It was like 16 or something like that.
Yeah, maybe it was because I was sending you guys texts for a while,
right?
And just saying, "Hey, you were wrong about this." And then I think like you or Joe made a joke about sending notes, and then I actually did it.
Yeah.
and then you guys were like, "These are way too long." And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to educate you.
I was really hoping you were catching on to the sarcasm that I was laying on, because I did not care how long you're. It was just so it fluctuated a lot. So like from one week it would be like 4 or 5 minutes. The next week it was like 9 minutes, and then it was like
I mean, it really was determined by you guys, right? So
yeah, how off the rails we went.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, it was probably, I started recording around 16 or so. I mean, we could probably look into it.
Yeah.
Obviously inconsistently at times between recording on my phone in my bedroom or in the office or in my office at work, even in the morning.
Wow.
Just whenever I could find time to like actually sit down and go through it. And plus, we have 2 dogs.
Mm-hmm.
One's 1.5 years and the other one's 11 weeks, and they're pretty rambunctious. So, finding time to their quiet time, even I'm hoping that you haven't heard them at all. Al's been trying to keep them quiet. So sometimes it was like, well, I could just do this from work real fast and it's all good. So
yeah, but bust it out real quick.
I just, shut my door and everyone thought I was doing an important phone call.
There you go. Yeah. And it was. I mean, let's get it straight.
Basically,
it was important.
The most important thing I was doing on a Tuesday morning,
Yeah, because they always did roll in right at the last minute. No, early on when you were sending the notes, they were getting there like Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, and then I think you got a little bit busier. So.
Yeah, I got a lot while we moved and whatnot, started a new job. And I got into the really good habit where I was getting some desk time Wednesday afternoon. So I would be doing work at my desk instead of being out in meetings. And I would listen to the podcast and I would just do the notes. But once my schedule got a little bit more crazy, it was just really hard to get through the podcast. And for a while, I was trying to do it in the car. And I was trying to write down like time signatures or thoughts. And then I was forgetting what I wanted to talk about. So it was just easier just to sit down and listen to it like completely and then take notes while I was going.
Absolutely. I can understand that. I mean, if I had to listen to myself talk for, I voluntarily do every week. I listen to the podcast, but
do you? So I
go back through. Every time
I listen to the podcast, I always skip through my part.
Do you?
I feel like the big loss here, aside from you getting to hang out with Joe for the podcast, is that I probably won't listen to this podcast anymore because I'm going to be too self-conscious or critical of my voice or what I say.
It's all good, man. No, you don't have to listen to the thing. Hopefully, Joe. I don't think he said he didn't listen. I know he was listening, but. I'll poke fun at him here. Hopefully he picks up the slack for, he's got to listen double time now, is what I'm saying, basically.
Double time, yeah, absolutely.
He's got to double time it up. One thing I did have a question for you. What are you most excited about when it comes to the podcast, to being part of the podcast?
I mean, getting to talk to you every week.
Aw, hey man, that's sweet, dude.
I mean, actually, that was one of the reasons why I was really stoked when you guys first started doing the podcast, because obviously we were all really close in university, and then me living in a different country makes it challenging. But it was like a fun way to me to, like, I guess, imagine like we were all just hanging out in a room, because like you said, the conversations of the podcast are pretty relaxed, and it is a conversation basically.
Yeah.
So it just made me feel like, oh, like we're hanging out, even though I can't talk to you. And then, you know, slowly kind of wiggle my way in there, and it just got us to, you know, get back into regular communication, which is pretty sweet. So
yeah, man, I agree. It's it has been a little bit you know, like you said, living in separate areas, and you got all your stuff going on, and you're, I'm sure at this point, starting to get into, if you haven't already, I don't know if Allie's doing most of it, but doing all the wedding planning, stuff like that. So that'll probably be taking a big chunk of your time here pretty soon, I would think.
Speaking of, like, look, we have all of these save the dates that we were supposed to send out 4 months ago.
You still haven't sent them?
Yeah, I do. And actually,
oh, hey, it's me. Oh, hey, yeah, you put a K on my name. How freaking awesome. Is that why you asked for my for my address?
Yeah, that's why. That, okay. And I'm going to sign you up for, there's this like website that if you don't like someone, you put their address on, and they just send you random boxes of like animal dung.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to sign me up for another Prophet Peter Popoff sort of religious sort of thing like Joe did. No, don't do that. That
was a pretty good one.
Yeah,
but no, it's to send out the save the dates that
nice,
are
man.
Way overdue. At this point, they're slowly turning into invitations. So, you know,
nice. Yeah, just stuff it all.
Just put it all in one. Good to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, wedding planning is going pretty good. I think we got a lot of the hard stuff done. And me being kind of the stereotypical man, I don't really care about the details of the wedding.
Yeah.
And Allie being an engineer and pretty practical is not that into it either.
Okay.
So when we talked about getting married, I was like, I do not want to be fighting with you for a year over like linens or flowers or colors or whatever. I was like, I don't think it shouldn't be a stressful thing.
Right.
So we said, you know, what are our priorities for the wedding? And it was to have a venue big enough that we can invite all of the people that we want to be there. We want an open bar, and we want a really good live band. And, you know, we said, if those things happen, then it's going to be a good time. And if someone's upset that they don't have like a super fancy tabletop centerpiece thing or whatever, then you know what, that's too bad.
Yeah, dude, it should totally just 100% be what you're comfortable with, you know? And I think that's the smart thing too, is like the practicality for both of you guys is also saving you guys money. You know what I'm saying? Like I forget what, I mean, maybe, but like and maybe you're just going crazy. Maybe you got like Kanye West or something coming for the live band, but like
not quite, but that would be pretty sweet.
That would be sweet.
So Allie's favorite band is Weezer, and I actually was like looking into what it would cost to get Rivers to come and do like our first dance song,
dude.
But I like jokingly told Allie that, and then she was like, "Don't do that because I would be too distracted." I was like, "Oh."
So you're like, let me just go ahead and delete that draft email that I had. And
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong; it's still going to be a nice wedding. We're doing it at the zoo here, so the ceremony is outside, the reception will be inside, and the venue actually takes care of a lot of the decorations and the linens and stuff. They have a very simple like. You can do white or ivory or black or like blue or something. And we're like, okay, cool. White, easy. So it's pretty. We're just not, you know, not going to put a lot of effort and stress into those things because we have a million other things going on. But
yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, that's, I think the less stress you can put into planning it all is just going to be, you're going to be able to enjoy everything, you know, much more than if you we're micromanaging the situation and wondering if, oh, well, did all of our centerpieces get here? Or is one fucked up? Or, like, for me and Stephanie, our wedding, we had our cake. We got it from some, I don't even remember. I think the place was called the Cake Pan or something like that, which we should have just known from the get-go that we probably weren't going to get the best cake from a place called the Cake Pan. But... like the cake when we got it was already starting to fall over.
Oh jeez.
So like we had to like do disaster control like on the cake and like just get it to the point where we could make the first or to cut our piece
and then be done with it.
And then just be done. Yeah, we didn't even box it up. I think we just ditched it. Like we just completely got rid of it. Like
yeah, we're not getting a cake for that reason. And you're actually not the first person I've heard say that story about they get a cake and one of our friends, I can't remember who, they got married, they got a cake, and the baker dropped it. So they just, couldn't produce a cake, so they ended up just getting a cake from, Costco or something.
Like a sheet cake?
Yeah, just a big sheet cake.
Oh my God, dude.
But the baker still charged them for the cake and stuff.
No shit.
It's just a debacle. So we're going to have, cupcakes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really a cake person. I much prefer pie, so I'd be really into a really nice wedding pie. But we'll see if I can wiggle that in there.
I was gonna make a pie joke, but
keeping it PG, sort of.
No, I was gonna say there will be pie of a different sort at a later point, and some that at that point, but yeah.
Anyway. So I will say the only thing that I'm a little bit disappointed in our wedding, even though it hasn't happened yet, is, I mean, you know me, I love my McDonald's. That is my go-to. And I always said that if I got married, I wanted it to be catered by McDonald's. You're telling me you wouldn't be stoked on that?
I don't know, man. That might be a little extra. I don't know.
So, anyways,
is Ronald McDonald like the what do you call it? The efficient?
God, that'd be amazing. Yeah, Ali probably would just leave me, and I'm way too invested into that one. So obviously Ali was like, "No, we're not having our wedding catered by McDonald's, but you can use them as our evening snack." And I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty sweet. Because, people usually get pizza or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that, just order 600 cheeseburgers and go to town. And then apologize to our vegetarian guests, but too bad.
Yeah. I will eat your burger that was dedicated happily to you. I will eat that.
So anyways, our venue, we can't bring outside food. So,
oh, shit, dude.
But we have sliders that you can do. I was like, it's not the same. She's like, I know, but they're probably better. And I was like, it's still not the same.
We're not talking quality here. Obviously, if you want quality, you can produce a better burger than McDonald's.
Yeah, I'm talking about guilty pleasure.
We all want to feel like shit at the end of the night. What is the quickest way to do that? Oh, I don't know. Maybe about 4 or 5 ounces of trans fat. Let's get that.
Do you have a regular fast food order? I get basically the same thing every time I go to McDonald's.
All right, do you want to say it on 3?
No, I just want to hear yours and take it in.
Okay, I always just get the at McDonald's. I always just get the double quarter pounder meal, and I get I don't like pickles, so I go no pickles, large size it. With a Coke, because so there's something about McDonald's Coke. I don't know what it is.
Do you get regular Coke, Coke Zero, Diet Coke?
No, I don't stick to the zeros or the diets. I just go rigs.
Yeah, okay. Coke heavy, I like it.
Yes. What about you? What do you
That's
get?
it? Oh man, I feel like I shouldn't share mine because that's kind of embarrassing.
Oh, that's all. Well, my little belly, I don't know what it is, man. I want to eat all the food in the world, but I just can't, I can't even force myself to overeat too much. I don't know what it is. You can just say like the first part, or maybe you can just lie.
I'll say it all.
You can just lie, Johnny.
I'm not even gonna lie, because fact checker, you look into me, everyone will know what I get. So
they got receipts. They've just been following you around.
So I always get double quarter pounder with cheese, bacon, super size because I love the fry, and I always go Diet Coke because I am watching my figure. But then I get a McChicken.
Okay.
And then I get 2 McDoubles.
Okay.
And then sometimes maybe I get 1 McDouble and I get a fillet of fish. And then what I do is I take the chicken patty out of the McChicken and I put it into the McDouble or into the double quarter pounder and I eat that. And it's amazing. And then with that McChicken bun and the mayo and the lettuce, I put fries into that and make like a fry burger. And then I eat that, and then I clean up with the McDoubles and the rest of the fries and my giant Diet Coke. And that is like literally just my standard McDonald's meal. That's not even me being like, I'm going to binge at McDonald's.
That's so much. That would took like 4 times as long to say what you get at McDonald's.
It's literally, there's a process. And like, if I get the fillet of fish, then I do the land sea air burger and I put like the fish patty and the chicken patty into the double quarter pounder and
the land sea and air burger.
Yeah, man, you gotta cover your bases. But yeah, I eat it like literally in the exact same process all the time. I don't stray, and it's just like this, I don't know, religious experience for me, I guess. I don't know.
I like how you looked at me like you were expecting so much more food to be talked about, and I didn't realize. Like I was like, yeah, that's a pretty decent amount of food, and then you said yours, and I understand now why you were looking at me.
You got like the regular meal that like 80% of Americans get every day at McDonald's. Like,
something.
Have you seen Super Size Me? That's like the Super Size meal.
Yeah. Do they still? By the way, you said super size. Do they still supersize it in Canada, or is it called large size?
I don't know. I always say supersize it. I will say though, like American portions, at least from drinks and sometimes fries, are like way bigger than Canadians.
Yeah, so give me some credit here. I'm eating like 5 times as many French fries as you are. All right.
No, I doubt it. I think at the end of the day, like the largest size are still the same, but like your guys' mediums are like like your guys' mediums are just massive.
Really?
Compared to what we get. I mean, maybe not necessarily at McDonald's, but definitely at some other restaurants you go to, and it's just like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Which I love because I'm a big eater, because I'm a big guy.
Sure.
But when I take Itty Bitty Allie and she's like, this is just obscene, and then I'm like, leftovers.
She's like, I'll take a McDouble and that's it.
It's like, no, you're getting those fries. I'm going to eat them. Don't be silly. So we actually have a rule in our house, because I'm like a obsessive eater, is that an Allie never finishes her meal, and she always brings leftovers home.
Yeah.
And she never eats them, but I'm not allowed to eat them. And I really hate wasting food, because I like, if she brings home like a good burger or something and only ate half of it, like my mind will fixate on that burger like I'm a dog. So we have the 20.
So you can't eat the food, but she's not going to eat the food.
Yeah, basically, because she's like, oh, I'm going to eat it, but then she'll forget about it or doesn't want to eat leftovers, wants to eat something else, and then like 4 days goes by and it's bad. So I've implemented the 24-hour rule, in that any leftovers she brings home, I will not touch for 24 hours, but after 24 hours, I can eat and she cannot get mad at me for it.
Fair game.
And the exceptions to this rule is if I carry it out of the restaurant, it's mine.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
I like it. So she has to carry, if she has leftovers, she has to carry it herself. Otherwise, it's yours.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. What if you're being, so there's no, like, you're not being a gentleman by carrying her food. You're just carrying her food just so you can eat it later.
Basically, yeah. Because I know, like, she maybe eats 10% of her leftovers.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
And usually she wants to eat it at that 25th hour, and by then it's already gone.
It's a fiscal thing at that point. You know, you're like, you know what? I spent way too much money on this for it to just sit.
Again, coming back to me being frugal, like, don't get me wrong, I spend money on probably some questionable and dumb things. But like, I just really don't like wasting food.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, it's like we go to this restaurant, we buy this fancy meal, you eat half of it, that's fine. Like, you're tiny and it's a big meal. I was like, but I'm not going to throw that away.
No.
That's a great snack, or like a pre-dinner snack, you know?
Yeah, dude. I get it. We talked about what you're excited for the podcast. This is like going back 20 minutes. I don't know how we just circled back around. Do you have any apprehensions coming into the podcast?
Not being good enough.
Not being good
enough. Or talking about my McDonald's obsession and you being like, oh my God, what did I do?
I'm not judging at all. Our listeners are judging, and they will let us know about it at Jumbled Podcast on all social media. But you know what? Talk about your McDonald's all you like, dude. It's 100% fine.
So McDonald's, sponsor us. I'll wear your shirts. I'll eat your food.
He's loving it. He's loving it. Absolutely
I'm loving it. I actually get it everywhere I go, man. It's any new country I go to, first stop McDonald's.
So I think the last couple things I wanted to talk about. We've been going for over an hour, man. This is much easier podcasting this way than it was last week.
Man,
like I
you're
said,
brave to take on doing a solo podcast is not easy, and I think you did a pretty good job, especially, you know, with the notice that you had and the preparation that you could do. Like,
sure, I went in with like 3 or 4 like different talking points, because I just knew, like, we've covered on my topics, we've covered maybe about 3 or 4 things. Mm-hmm. And we're already over an hour, you know, so I knew that it was only, you know, if I had those 3 or 4 talking points to bounce off of whoever I was co-hosting with, that we'd be able to make up that hour, no problem. But you blow through them so much quicker because you don't have there's no banter at that point, you know, so, and you can't just fly off into a tangent like I always have with this podcast. So I have a couple more things.
Okay, good, because I actually felt like I was on a cliffhanger of like, I need to know what these things are before this episode's over.
Yeah. Well, it's harkening back to our days at Graceland. I think we've talked about it before. Jonny and I and Joe, we're all in the same, what was called a house, which is basically just a floor of a residence hall. You know, and I was house president, and Jonny was house president, and Joe was house president, but not in that order. But, you know, you have to plan things around house meeting. And so a tradition for our house, Orion, was wrestling. So there's always house wrestling. And it would pop up at various times, at various places or points or whatever. It wasn't like a scheduled thing every week you would do wrestling. But we decided one week, and I don't know, I think it was during, I can't remember whose HP year it was. It's one of the 3 of us. But me and Jordan did some wrestling. Do you recall that?
You and Jordan wrestling?
Yeah.
You got to give me some more specifics.
Okay, so me and Jordan were wrestling, and then I got him in a rear naked, and I made him pass out.
Oh, yes, I remember, because Jordan is very stubborn.
That's the only time. I don't know how many times you've made somebody pass out. I can't speak for you. I've only made one person pass out, and it was that time.
I do remember that now. You were pretty shaken by that. I
was shaken, and he was bleeding from the nose. So it was like, he was snoring. Like, you guys like pushed me. You like pushed me off of him when he was snoring. I thought he was just trying to get air or whatever. But well, he was trying to get air, but he was snoring. And so that's the only time, but I just thought I would bring that up. That's my first talking point. Jonny, how many times have you made somebody pass out?
I mean, I hope Jordo listens to this podcast, but I've probably made Jordo pass out at least a dozen times, because we were in martial arts club together, and we used to roll all the time, and Jordo refuses to tap. So he gets to go to sleep. And he's very strong. Actually.
I was worried. I was really worried going into that because I was like, there's no way. Like, I'm tapping the quickest anybody's ever tapped ever if he gets my back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just over. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm good. But I don't know how I got around him like that. But never again.
I actually was thinking about wrestling because I am proud of my undefeated Orion Wrestling Championship. And being like, I want to go back for homecoming and I just want to wrestle people. But then I remembered that I'm like nowhere near as in good a shape as I was back then.
Yeah.
And that I'm old.
Yeah. That's something that's really weird is like we're removed so far from Graceland that we don't know most of the people at Graceland anymore.
I know.
Like
just
aside from
profs,
like a few,
right?
aside from a few teachers and whatnot, we don't know anybody. And like, well, there's some of our class or people that we went to school with who have stuck around, started working there. So we know like, you know, Brad Benson and a few other people that work there now, but that's a really weird thing to me is like I don't from my Graceland days, my college days, which I often think back on fondly. There's nobody there that I know anymore.
Yeah, I mean, student wise, like it's really easy to just get disconnected. I mean, I try to like I send money there every year and try and keep the house like engaged, and it's exciting when they're doing well. And I mean, my little sister went there too, so I still had this bit of a connection and inside track of what was going on. But I definitely miss it as well. It's kind of interesting. Like you go there and you're like, oh, I can't wait to be done so I can get out and get a job, and then you get a job, and I'm just like, God, I just miss the days of like hearing Joe run up and down the halls just yelling "squeet."
Yeah, squeet.
And eating with like the same group of guys for every meal, like all the time, was just amazing. Or like video games and like hanging out.
Yeah, I would walk out into the hallway where there's nobody else out in the hallway. Everybody's in the room with the doors closed, and I would just go, food! I would just scream food, and then everybody would just like, huh? You gonna go eat? Okay, cool, let's go. You know, I do miss that.
It was just like living with, dozens of your closest friends.
Yeah, exactly. It's something I miss, man. And then doing races up the stairs. It's a race, and then we would just,
Man, that's why we got in such good shape, because you're just sprinting up 4 flights of stairs multiple times a day.
They were simpler times, Johnny. They were simpler times. Another thing about house meetings. This was my first house meeting as a house president. Okay, I decided to implement a new thing called chicken wing fights. Okay.
Oh my God, chicken wing fights were so deadly.
Oh my God, it was the worst decision I've ever made. Okay, so the whole point of chicken wing fights was you're supposed to interlock your fingers and put it behind your neck, and then you hold it on your neck and you do not remove your finger. You do not unhinge your fingers. They are locked, whatever. And then you can only throw elbows from behind with your elbows up behind your head. You can't get a lot of, with your hands back like that, you can't get a lot of like, I don't know, thrust torque. Or momentum or torque or anything like that. So it's like, you're not really, it's superficial injuries, and then at the end we're going to be like, oh, well, I guess so-and-so won or so-and-so lost.
Wrong.
But it was our friend Mark versus our friend Ross. Okay? And Ross and Mark knew the rules that they were supposed to interlock their fingers and not unlock them. But Ross went all rogue. And he unlocked his fingers, and he threw an elbow, and it smacked Mark directly in the nose. And I was sure his nose was broken. Like, the amount of blood that came out of his face, I was sure his nose was broken. I'm like, I'm going to get fired so quick from this job. It's going to be the only job I've ever gotten fired from, and I'm going to do it in spectacularly fast fashion. But luckily I didn't. But that was, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about the old times on the house, and then when I thought about putting Jordan to sleep, the chicken wing fights also resurfaced. I hadn't thought about
that
those.
Was a short-lived event for sure.
I don't think we did it again. I think it was a one-time thing.
Everyone's face was like
Ross
whoa.
Polly, the undisputed chicken wing fight champion of all time.
Does Ross listen to this podcast? I hope he does.
I hope he does too. Ross, let us know if you listen, bud.
Ross.
Well, anyway, we're creeping up on an hour 17 minutes, so we're in that sweet spot, I think. Do you have any closing thoughts that you want to give to our listeners, to everybody listening?
No, just glad to be a part, and hopefully this audio records, and then I find a way to send you this massive file. But I'm excited. It's cool, and it's great just to get a chance to hang out and chat with you, and then hopefully people still find our conversations as entertaining as the old ones. I'm sure they will. But I mean, with stories like chicken wing fighting, like, come on, those are some top quality chicken wing fighting, and I gave a lot of people some good McDonald's ideas.
It's true.
Do the Jonny challenge. Get back to us. Let us know what you thought.
Hashtag Jonny challenge. Send your pictures in. Show us the before and the after pictures. We're really interested if you're able to power through it. And we will take into account those U.S. portions.
I don't know. And Zach, make a note for next week that we talk about my official retirement from competitive eating.
Oh gosh, okay.
Because I had a moment where this, like, in the past couple of weeks, where I was like, I just can't. I'm just not where I was anymore, and it was I'm getting old moment. You hit 30 and everything just falls apart.
Yeah, I've made note. It is in Slack.
I can hear you typing away.
All right. Well, hey, let's wrap it up, guys. Thanks for checking back in. Thanks for listening, guys. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Audible. Thank you very much, Audible, for sponsoring us. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled for your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. We're on all social media at Jumbled Podcast. Send any emails, related questions, whatever, to jumbledpodcast@gmail.com. We're on iTunes. Head over, rate and review. We're on every other podcast platform that you can think of. If not, if you have any suggestions on where we should be, send those over too. Always looking for new places to put our name out. So anyway, Jonny, that's it. I'm glad you're here, bud.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to next week already.
All right, cool. All right, well, we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Jumbled, your favorite podcast. Jonny, about what?
Nothing?
That's it.
Everything? Everything and nothing at the same time?
See you guys.
Bye.